Salama, this is Anani Uturukiri, and you're watching the behind the scenes of my newest music video, Eve, from the Re-Education of Anani Uturukiri. I was on social media, and a common, I guess, meme you would say I would see, I felt was just very disrespectful, and it was talking about how, you know, when I see Eve, I'm gonna beat her up, and when I see Eve, I'm gonna kick her down the stairs, and you know, all these just like cruel and really hurtful ways, and quite frankly disrespectful ways. I feel that I saw people talking about our matriarch Eve. And it just made me think, you know, you would never hear anyone talking about the patriarchs in that way. You would never hear somebody talking about King Solomon in such a derogatory way, even though he made big mistakes and on his own accord. You would never see anybody talking about, you know, King David in a derogatory way, even though he made some big mistakes, you know, on his own accord. But for some reason, we feel comfortable enough to degrade Eve based on a mistake she made while she was deceived. And I thought, you know, it was just time to show some compassion and love to the woman whom we all came from. And if we can forgive our forefathers for their iniquity, then surely we should be able to forgive the mother of us all, Eve. I 100% do believe that people kind of, again, subconsciously forget that Adam and Eve are patriarchs, you know, patriarchs and matriarch. Because I feel like when we talk about the patriarchs, you know, we quote the big three, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Because, you know, when we recall our ancestors, that's, you know, scripturally who we lean on first. But we must always remember to respect them, just like we put the respect on on Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because they too are our bloodline, they are our lineage, so we do owe them a level of respect. Yes, I absolutely do believe that people sometimes forget about the Genesis curse on top of the Deuteronomy 28 curse, and I'll say that I guess people would forget about it if it appears like a blessing to some. But I will say a curse is not forever, and when a curse is lifted, things do go back to their once rightful position or rightful place. So this is actually the third concept for Eve, and the final concept. I had two previous concepts. This video caused me a lot of issues because I just couldn't figure out a topic or rather a visual that to me would encompass the importance of a song like Eve. I feel like Eve talks about a lot of different topics and important topics. However, the way I wrote it kind of juvenile, if you would say, or kindergarten, because I feel like sometimes the best way for people to learn is not through just super intricate lyrics. So with that, it was very hard to find a video or a concept for a video that would match. So I kind of got also the concept for, you know, galaxy and the universe. You know, the universe is darkness. You know, the universe was birthed from the Most High, out of, you know, darkness. And I feel like, again, people are birthed out of darkness, out of the womb. You know, the womb is very dark. And I feel like that was kind of the perfect correlation, especially since the lyrics in the song are "She's the woman of the universe," you know, to put Eve in a dark room, you know, surrounded by the moon, the stars, galaxy, all those types of things. So I think that's kind of where I was going with the concept of the video, and I think that's the concept that kind of rang more true to me in my mind. And, you know, just for clarification, because I know how y'all be, I'm not saying that Eve is God. I'm just saying that she is important. So I definitely think the Most High has put the calling on me to minister through my music, and I think that sometimes the topics that I talk about in my music could seem irrelevant. Like, why would you pick that topic to talk about? But I think when you boil it down, the basis of what I'm talking about is the root of a lot of issues in the Hebrew Israelite community. And I feel like once we talk about these issues, then I think the community as a whole could heal at a more accelerated pace. And so I think that's why it's important for me, and that's why I do pick certain topics. Eve, talking about, respecting our foremother, and Yerushalayim, I brought a new perspective kind of how one could write or about our homeland. And then even the Lion Queen, just certain perspectives of how a daughter of Zion should be treated in a relationship or in a courtship. So, all these topics, whilst at first may seem irrelevant, I think when you boil them down, they do cover deeper issues. Yes, I do want to quickly give a huge shout out to my team. I do know sometimes people are under the impression, that I am doing all of this by myself and that I just kind of release things without thought or very willy-nilly. And I think that's a very unfair assumption because I take what I do very seriously, and everything that I do is actually vetted. People actually don't quite fully understand that I actually live in a full-fledged Hebrew Israelite community. Nothing I post gets posted without the approval of several individuals. They do a lot of quality control management, and they tell me what is appropriate and what is not appropriate, and what could cause issue and what needs to be said. So I think that the assumption that, I'm just this little young thing that wants to make truth music, I think is quite unfair and quite biased, if I'm being honest, because I do value my team's opinion, and I do take what I do very seriously. Yes, so to briefly touch on Yerushalayim, myself and the elders were very aware that it was something that has kind of never been done before in the Hebrew Israelite community. So we did not quite know where it wanted to go. I was very pleased with the reception. I thought it was going to be a lot of backlash, actually, because when you do something new, sometimes you don't quite know where it's going to go. Like you said, it was not even a lot, but 2 comments that did have a concern about the way in which I was dressed and the way in which I was portraying truth music. And what I will say is, I never do anything without thinking it through very deeply. And again, the elders always vet me. If you really look at the Yerushalayim music video, I was paying homage to Billie Holiday. She's one of my great influences, actually. And she actually is the writer of one of the, to be honest, to me, one of the most geniusly written songs, Strange Fruit. And that depicted the atrocities a lot of blacks were facing in the Deep South, especially black men in the Deep South, with the lynchings in that time period, the 30s and 40s. So to say that I am depicting or I am looking like a strange woman, when in fact, if you know history, you would know that I'm depicting Billie Holiday, I feel like that is very unfair, especially when to say that I'm doing something worldly, when even in Hebrew Israelite music there's rappers, and that's a worldly art form, and there's other things that people do that are worldly art forms, but we make it Hebrew, and we dedicate what we do to the Most High. So I think it's not fair to try to cast out what I do because it doesn't fit a mold that you see fit, or that you see is acceptable, or that you find comfortable. Now again, to touch on the clothing a little bit, again, I always make sure I'm fully covered. However, in the times of slavery, there would be women with full-length gowns to their ankles and long sleeves, down to their wrist, and they would still get raped. It's not always necessarily about the clothing you're wearing, it's about the perversion of the mind of the person watching. So I will say, if the elders find what I'm doing and what I'm wearing modest, then I respect their opinion, and I accept their opinion because I know that they would not steer me wrong, and they would not have me go against the Most High's wishes. I do think in the Hebrew community it is seen as taboo to pay homage to artists that came before you who were not in the truth. And I guess what I would say to that is I don't think it's also fair to throw out some of the art forms that our people used to cope with our oppression throughout the years. I think we were able to make some of the most genius music through our trials, tribulations, our pain. So to throw that out, to me, that is not recognizing or giving respect to your ancestors or forefathers. Now, again, we know some went way off, and their expression of their art form is not what we condone. But there are some who did not go way off, and they're still singing about love and hope and relationships and friendships and, belief in the future. And I think those songs give us hope and give us belief in the future and teach us love, even when I feel like we don't get it from other places. So I think it is important to still pay homage to those who came before you. Yes, my new website, my new clothing line, Paved in Gold by Anani Uturukiri, just launched, I believe, last week. And it's a Hebrew Bantu online boutique. We have everything from men, women, children, babies, anything you could ask for. We have Holy Day collections, Pentecost, Passover, Feast of Tabernacles, that's coming up. So if anybody's interested, please check it out. My team and I worked very hard on it, and I'm very pleased with it. Scroll the website, find something you like. There's something for everybody. The link is in the description below, so please check it out when you have a chance.
She's a woman of the universe. She's Eve. She's a woman of the universe. She's me.
This is Anani Uturukiri. Thank you for tuning in to the behind the scenes of Eve from my new EP, The Re-Education of Anani Uturukiri.